Welcome to the Odyssey of Man, and I feel like we need to have some kind of like.
Let me put this up.
Wow.
Not too close. Trust me, I learned that the hard way on my first video.
Welcome to the Odyssey of Man, and I feel like we need to have some kind of like cool like intro, like you play music, you could be like dun 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 dun. I mean that's like the football thing, but like dun 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 dun. Welcome to the Odyssey of Man, and it's like anyway. Okay.
Nobody liked my music back in high school. Nobody's gonna like my music now.
We need to find something. Something intro. I do have a quote. I know this could be lame, but I don't care. Quotes are cool.
This is all unscripted. I had no idea this was planned, so if it sucks, it's not on me.
This is a good quote. All right.
This wasn't a business decision.
This was it's only after you've stepped outside your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. It's by Roy T. Bennett.
It's a good one. That's very accurate.
That's a good one for this podcast.
It is.
So
it's a good one for life.
As much as we're shooting in Jake's basement. Jake owns his own house, so there's that. It's not his mom's basement.
Yeah. I moved out of my mom's basement to go into my own basement.
Yeah, he's got a cool basement though, and we figured it'd be a cool scene to shoot this podcast on. At least some of it. A lot we're gonna be doing like later on as we get the ball rolling, like stuff shooting outside. As long as how we can figure out how we're gonna film that, but like you said, it's a growing process, and transformation begins as when you step out that door.
Yeah, and it's just the scary part is starting. Is planting your feet and pointing them in a direction and then starting to walk. So content is better than no content and thinking about how you could have done something. It's better to be like, oh, we did it and it's a work in progress versus, oh, I wish I had done it at all. So,
yeah, that was literally my motto when I went to Vietnam. Basically, was so afraid to go alone. And I basically was like, all right, Patrick, one foot in front of the other.
You have a legitimate reason to be afraid. It's a very sketchy trip to do alone. You're like, oh, I'm going to Vietnam. And I'm like, by just yourself? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, you have fun. I was like, I hope he doesn't get murdered. But
it came close, but they were very kind people. They did not want to murder me. I made it out of every situation alive. And yeah, there were some questionable ones, but you just have an open mind and you just roll with the punches.
Hey, I'm going to go for some drinks by myself and start relaxing and then just leave willy-nilly. You have no idea where I'm going at nighttime, but yeah.
Then your phone dies and you don't know no one speaks English and you're like, uh-oh. But yeah, that's a story for another day. Today we're talking about dating apps and how much they suck.
They do suck.
They're awful. Jake and I both, I've probably been on dating apps longer than Jake. And we both probably get very different types of girls, but creating a whole encompassing of the circle of life of how it all sucks.
I get a lot of 65 plus women. I don't know why that is. It's very strange. I have to always turn my filter back down.
Does it go back up?
I don't
know. Are they hot?
65 They own boats and stuff. I feel like it's cool. The reverse of how it should be, but I'm like, take me on your boat. But no, it's a very bad experience. It's it sounds kind of convoluted to say, but I'll get a lot of matches, but there's no substance in these dating apps, and it's I really shouldn't expect. I guess I shouldn't expect there to be, because it's you're people shopping. You're just ew or yeah or ew yeah, and it's so soulless, but.
I feel like there's genuine people on there.
There are, 100%. There are.
But they are very, at least from the girls that are my friends that I've talked to, it's or they weren't on dating apps, and then they're so I decided, hey, Patrick, I decided to get on the dating app, see what it's like, and they're 3 days.
Oh, it's horrifying. These eldritch horrors are awful. Plus, a lot of the girls, they probably deal with a lot of guys who are really suspect.
Yeah.
You have to think about how weird and awkward a lot of people are. And but you're also in this very weird, it's not exactly a social setting, and you're protected by your phone.
Your screen, and you're just ghost or
and you're trying to feel how do I navigate this? How do you essentially stop being yourself to try to come up with a way to keep a conversation going, and it's very disgenuine. And I think I can't speak for on the woman's side, but like Pat and I were talking, like I'll get a lot of likes, but nothing ever comes out of it. You know, it's like get 100 likes, you match with four of them, four candidates, whatever, and you know you're just trying to be yourself because you want someone to like you for who you are. So how do you start a conversation with someone you never met online? It just sounds gross saying it out loud. So then you're like, hey, and no answer. It's like, oh, did I give him the ick just by saying hey? Do I add that to the ick list? You know, and then
The ick is real.
the ick is real.
It's a real thing. It
It
was in a
shows
movie.
itself
What movie was
differently
it? That was
as
in
a
a
man
movie.
because we get man ick, which sounds gross. Sounds like a venereal disease, but it you got the man ick.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely get that vibe. That's definitely happened in the past before I even knew what the ick was. You know, but same time, like, I think it's to go back on what like the girls were saying. Is basically they will get like, and I've listened to a lot of other podcasts about it too. Is that like the way the apps are designed are to make men pay for it. Men are the
Yeah,
ones that are going to be paying. And that's literally like been proven. I would say scientifically proven, but like
proved by science.
proved by
Men gotta
science.
pay. Yeah,
Trust the science. And no, but it's been like studied upon and whatnot, and that's who's paying. Girls aren't paying. Girls are getting thousands of matches. Like I have a friend. I'm not going to name her on this podcast. She'll
do
probably
it,
be upset.
do it.
But she just told me, and I'm sure she'll watch this and she'll be like, "That's me." And she had like at one point, I just saw her the other day. She said 16,000. 16,000. Yes, you heard that
That's
correctly.
perverse.
Matches. And yeah, she travels a lot. So imagine like every time, I think your algorithm when you're staying in one area,
You go on vacation mode,
you
I think too.
you go on vacation. If you like when I was in Southeast Asia, like I was getting matches like 10 a day. It's because I was in a new place. But like once you're in the same spot, it kind of is the same people. But she's around traveling a lot, and it's like her apps on, and I think it was Bumble, and she had like so many, and it's like I'm sure maybe her soulmate is within that
In her
16,000
in her queue.
in her
Yeah.
queue, and he's the nicest guy, or let's say kindest guy. You don't want to be a nice guy,
No, you
kind
don't want to be
guy,
a nice guy.
and and
You're only nice to your mom.
yeah,
Okay.
that's true. And he's just waiting for her to swipe yes, but she has to go through literally 500 to 1,000
But then
crap
he
dudes.
takes not a professional picture, and she's like, "Ew, gross."
Yeah.
Or he takes a professional picture, and she's like, "Ew, gross." He's full of himself. You
Yeah.
can't win. You
Or
can't
or
win.
he's
He
on a
took an ab picture. While I'm attracted to this, it just screams douche. So no, he's only going to care about himself. He
But that's
takes
the
care of
thing.
his fitness, but no.
That's the thing is you get the guys that take ab photos or whatever. I don't have abs, so I can't do that.
I've done it.
But he does.
I've done it.
Um but
I didn't say I had abs, but I've done it. You know, I've drawn them on,
yeah,
just like.
he shaved them in. Um and yeah, so like you take the ab photos and then you get the girls like, oh, I don't want a guy like that or whatever. Then you get the guy with the fishing photos, and then oh, I don't want a guy.
They hate that.
And they hate that.
Like except the like 0.01%
It's
where the
literally in their
girl has a fish
profile.
and you're like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
How has this girl not found the guy? You know, they're just
Yeah, so it's like I don't know what the stereotype. I'm not dating guys, so like I don't know what the whole fish thing is and what that's about. I see other guys with their fishes, and I'm like, I mean, that guy's cool. I kind of want to
like,
be
wow,
friends
it's a
with him.
big
I want to go
fish.
out fishing and whatnot. But like I think guys are just trying to get creative. Like I put photos of me at the gun range, and obviously I live in Rhode Island, Massachusetts area,
They don't like that.
and they don't like that up here.
I think what it is too, I've seen it. It's like women post what other women would like. I think it's like they don't try to post what men would find attractive. They try to post what other women would like. And we do the same thing. Like at one point I think I had a picture of my motorcycle on there. And I'm like, a dude would be like, dude, sick motorcycle, you know, at a gas station, but very rarely will be like, oh, thick bike. Can I go for a ride? Like that only works in what, like porn?
Movies. Yeah. More very very rare scenarios.
To be clear, I do not watch porn, but I would imagine that would be a scenario. I'm not going to name any names. One of my really good friends has a full blown porn addiction, so I get filled in on all the
The
nonsense.
scenarios.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you have to watch it to imagine what scenarios are like in
But
those
that
movies.
it kind of translates back to how like I feel like the way social media is and dating websites are, it's like in your face. It's like a validation for like women. Sometimes women, I have a friend, again, I'm not going to name any names, but she told me that she only goes on there, and you know who you are if you watch this, but she only goes on there to see how many likes she can get. And that's a real thing though. That's like a very real thing. It's just like, oh, it's a little ego boost. You know,
Validation. It's the
you
same
you
as
see
like
the icon, and then next to it you see like 1,000, and it's like, oh, there are the 1,000 guys who have liked my pictures. Doesn't matter if they don't care about who you are as a person. It's just showing that people find you attractive, and that's like, I don't know. I've never felt that way personally about the site, but I understand why that could happen. And then I just feel weird when I go on these sites. Like in person, you can kind of navigate a social situation. Like you could meet a girl very casually, friend of a friend, whomever, and be like, oh, like I like this person's vibe. Like you just consciously like, oh wow, this person's cool. I like this person. They don't have to be a 10 out of 10 or whatever. They could be like, I don't know, a 6 or something, but they're like a awesome human being. They're like the whole package in that aspect. You never get that on a dating site. You're like, okay, I don't like the way this person looks. And they could, again, you could vibe with them in person. So it
yeah.
makes it very hard because I'm a vibey person. If we go out in a social setting and like we can just kind of bounce jokes off one another, I'm much more apt to be like, oh, I really like this person versus
Yeah.
just looks.
Chemistry is huge
You could just be the
for
most
me.
attractive person and be just such a dud,
Yeah.
you know?
I'd say like, and that's why when I'm on the dating apps, I feel like I try to get to a date, an in-person date
Yeah.
right off the like within a week. I know that if I'm matching, so I shoot weddings. I shoot video for weddings on weekends in the summertime, and like obviously the summer's the best time to date because everyone's hibernating up here in the north.
Yep.
But and in the winter, so but like if I'm gonna if I match with someone on a Sunday, and I know that, or at least, or say I matched them on a Friday and I got weddings that weekend, and then I have also Thursdays and Tuesdays off, and but like most people don't, so they don't have a normal schedule, and they're like, oh, so when are you free? They're like, oh, free next week, and I know that it's now 5, 6, 7 days that
For
we
them to
gotta,
change their mind, you
yeah,
got to kind of
to
like,
change your mind and get go
it's
a
such a weird
date,
premise too, because like even I supposedly have a date Friday and
yeah,
Saturday. And it's like you want to keep in contact with them
but you don't
because
want to over text,
people's attention spans are like that of a goldfish now. Like they're just like, oh, and they're gone. Like, so you want to try to stay relevant, but you also don't want to just talk the situation to death because that's not what the apps are for.
yeah.
You don't want a pen pal. And then you end up talking
It's
and
somewhere in between, and then
how
again,
was your day?
yeah,
Was it good?
yeah,
How was your job? Oh,
yeah.
you're tired? What are you doing now? You're going to the gym? Oh, you're going, sorry, I was asleep. You did not asleep at 6:30. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's so phony. But then if you go out, this is the way I see it. Like a lot of people are so nervous about going on the date, and I don't understand coming from a woman's perspective. Like, but if it's somewhere like you're going out to a restaurant or something, like what? Okay, you have a good dinner, maybe a good conversation, and then you're like, oh, you know what? This person's not really for me. Who cares? You have a story, you have an experience, makes you feel like a person. Versus what? Just having an app where you have 1,000 likes. I don't know. It just seems so. Ugh. I don't like it. I just.
That's why, like lately, it's like I've been trying to be like, well, people are like, they're like, oh, let me set you up with so and so and like whatnot. First off, blind dates. I feel like
Oh
with
God, no.
somebody that you like that's friend of a friend can be great or the worst because if you end up doing the wrong thing or not being interested, then you got to explain to your friend, your mutual friend, that you're not interested, and it's I find like that to be a lot of pressure. Um,
And the last time I had a double date, the girl was married. And I had no idea. Nobody wanted to tell me. And then she's like, well, why can't I just date you too? And I'm like, you're married though. And she's like, but we are, but like, we don't like each other. And I'm just like, I I'm not getting involved. But it's or you could go on a double date. Even if you like double dates are a good segue though, because you can go on the date and like I had a double date and the girl was like, "Oh, what do you like to do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I like to be out in nature. I like to go fish, boating, shooting, all this stuff, and like hiking." And she's like, "Oh, I don't like any of that stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what do you do?" And it's like, "Oh, I do my hair." Oh,
I do my
wow.
hair and
Me
nails.
too.
You know,
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
called getting a haircut,
I I do like
I get
sometimes.
lip filler.
I don't like that,
Yeah,
but
I don't either.
I do like
The Frank
girl. I don't
Franken I
mind
call them
like
Franken bitches.
high maintenance girls when it comes to, like, and I guess more looks I than personality. High maintenance personality is a lot. That's hard to
Yeah.
put up with, and basically you're gonna, I mean, eventually be simping over that or whatever. Or they're gonna be. They want you
Oh,
to put them on the pedestal, and it's like
yeah.
that's danger territory for any man. Because then you're crossing that line between like a normal dude and a simp,
Yeah.
and if you're
Plus, you get the women that are very so it sounds weird, but, like, I mean, everyone's different, right? So, like, one of my friends is very actually has the same name as you, but one of my friends is married, and his wife is very masculine, and he is very, like, soft and feminine,
he's
and,
gonna
like,
watch this later, and
he
he's oh,
knows.
all right.
Patrick, you know. You know,
Not me
buddy.
though, not this
No,
guy.
no.
No.
And it works for you guys kinda, right? So that's good. But, like, then you get like, I never oh god, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot. But like my ex-wife is very masculine, not in frame and everything, but like she has very masculine tendencies. She's very type A. She's very like
She's
we're
alpha.
gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. And as a man, I am also very like that. But when you care about somebody, you try to just you want to make it work. So you kind of go with the flow. And everyone's different. That's why relationships, I've come to the realization you literally just have to be yourself. And you're going to go through a lot of trial and error. And like the dating apps, it's going to suck. But if you are yourself all the time and you just own it, you'll know that you're doing the right thing. You're being who you are, you're in your natural frame. And then eventually someone hopefully will come around and it's a good fit for your personality versus just trying to make pieces fit that don't necessarily fit offhand and then you guys develop feelings and it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hopeful. Hopefully, I'd say for me, I don't have any of that luck. So I've chosen to be.
A nomadic lifestyle.
Yeah, I'm trying to go for a nomadic lifestyle, which I'd rather see the world. I mean, yeah, if I were to, there's so every girl on dating apps is like, I like to travel, and
That's
then
what they want you for.
and
We should just delete this app and go traveling. Oh yeah, I'll get right on it. Yeah. Let's
and
get on my yacht. Let's go.
everyone wants to travel, and like they're like, oh, like so, and yeah, some of them are true, and then others I'll be like, oh, so where do you like to adventure to, or what kind of adventures do you like to do like right now? And it's like crickets basically,
Yeah.
or it's something.
Hey, do you one of the things I used to get, do you own a home? Because I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I'm like,
Trad wife.
the audacity.
I had someone say trad wife, which I had to
Sensational.
look up. I didn't know what that was. It's
Yeah.
called a traditional wife.
Traditional wife.
Traditional
And
wife
that's
is.
fine, but like I feel like we should maybe build up some rapport, have a relationship, maybe go on a dinner date before you're like, "Hey, I want to move in. Is your house move-in ready? I want to pump out some kids, get a chihuahua, and I want to stay at home and get fat." It's like that's pretty much what she said to me, which was like the audacity. And
Yeah.
again, but she had so many lip fillers and all this stuff. It's like, I don't know. I really have an issue with that. I don't know. It's
Well, the thing is, we're not getting younger, so
no,
it's like, and like you'll see all these memes on social media being like, if you're dating in your 30s and you're like, you got your divorced parent with that's from no offense to you, Jake,
none taken.
but like a woman that's got massive drama in her from her past husband or whatever, and or then you got someone that's like the workaholic that didn't do many relationships and whatnot, which they can be cool and whatnot, but like sometimes they're just like they still don't want the relationship, but they're just on it just for whatever reasons. Then you got like your trans dudes that are now women that actually are like beautiful looking women, but then you find out they're not women,
Yeah.
and maybe that's some dude's dream, but it's not my dream, and I know it's not Jake's dream.
It is not.
Uh, I sent Jake a girl the other day that she was beautiful. She was in pageants. I
Or
sent her.
he was stunning.
He was beautiful. And
It's like, hey, bud, you're gorgeous.
I sent it to my brother and his girlfriend, and she's like, wow, she's prettier than me. Like, whoa. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's a he.
Yeah.
And
He rocks those heels.
yeah,
that Adam's apple
yeah,
is shining in those lights in
you
that
know,
dress.
I was just like, dang. But like, I mean, that's kind of the world where we're heading in, and and then there's always the nurse. I feel like the nurse is every girl on dating apps
Doomed. You guys are
is the
doomed.
nurse.
You guys are doomed
And I
because
admire the nurse
I do too.
profession.
So
And
so
so I
much.
always, oh, she's a nurse, great, go for that. But I just feel like every time it's like there's just massive drama behind that one.
There is.
The other one is the eyelash extension, or the I there are they
Oh, the
say
pterodactyl
C.
wings.
No, well
They
they say
blink.
CEO in their work profile, but they own a lash business
Bad bitch. Yeah.
and or a makeup company,
Yeah.
and like again, don't have a problem with those professions. I admire
Cosmetic consultant.
yes, and I admire the entrepreneurism
E-business owner.
and but then it's like there's
That's like we
also
could put
drastic.
entertainer on
Oh,
mine. I'm a entertainer. I'm a comedian.
I'm gonna yeah, updating my dating profile. Say I'm a professional
I'm an entrepreneur.
podcaster.
I'm an
This
entrepreneur.
video might get like 5 views. I hope it gets more, but
5 is pushing it.
it's gonna be my view, your view.
Yeah.
Make my mom
Oh, I
watch it.
can't watch myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I'm not gonna rewatch any of these videos. I'm just gonna make
you
these
just send
posts
them.
very raw, and then we're gonna just upload and then just see what happens. Maybe try to boost a TikTok or something to run the channel.
Oh, it's funny. I've never once had a TikTok, and my friend Brendan will always send me TikToks to watch, and I'm like, brother, I cannot watch these. I
Is
am
he on
not.
TikTok?
I will not get sucked into the
You
TikTok
know what?
verse.
I said that too, and I didn't do Snapchat at all or anything, but I do, and I get starting to hate Instagram, and I have all these great photos
I
I want
hate
to post, but I
Instagram
just
so
hate
much.
being a part of that
There
whole
has to be something
society.
better. There has to be a way. It's tough because
Truth
it's
Social.
yeah, Truth Social. Yeah,
Don't cancel me.
yeah.
You can't cancel me because there's nothing to
Now we're not
cancel.
going to get
This
monetized.
you can't cancel when you're not even anything. But no, I'd say so. I download TikTok because I do social media for a diner, and it's a better way of getting things out there because like the Instagram's kind of gone flat, and it's like, all right, now you just post a video on TikTok and it blasts it. Or I also
Yeah.
run a channel because I'm also a high end caregiver to a my buddy pal Link, and we're like, I don't know, that movie with Kevin Hart where he's a rich dude and he's taking care of like this paraplegic man. Link's not paraplegic, but like it's the same ordeal. And so capture our
Are you Kevin
adventures.
Hart in this situation?
Basically,
For
yeah.
reference, I'm
But
just
I'm
trying to
also
picture it.
3 feet taller than
Yeah.
him,
All right. Yeah. And you're not black.
and I'm not black.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Only where it counts.
what yeah. And so what I post videos of like that or whatever our adventures. I guess my inner side is being like, I'd like to be put out there. Like I don't have a way of meeting people these days. Like in my 20s, I worked for a startup and like I can meet young people all the time. Now it's like, how do I meet guys that to be friends
Yeah.
and do man stuff, whether it's going to the
Yeah.
shooting range or whatever.
Well,
And
that's a big thing. Is that and that's a like I know we're segueing, but
yeah,
aside
we're jumping
from
talking.
aside from dating apps, honestly, when you try to just in today's society, like even with just friends, like I watched a podcast the other day. It was like, oh, friendship is dead, and it was like it's true to an extent. If like you have a friend and all of a sudden they get a girlfriend and they're only conditionally your friend anymore, it just doesn't seem like a genuine friendship. It seems like a convenience, and then it's a whole premise of like my friend Brendan and I went to Vance and Leathers in Fall River just to make a point to go do something. He's getting tailored for a custom jacket, but it was cool just to go out and do something. We met a few people doing that, and it was like you get home and it's like, oh, that was because I'm the kind of person someone will invite me and I'm like, I don't really want to go, and like, but then when it's like once I go, I have like a great time.
Yeah, I do the same.
It's just like I don't know, a safety mechanism of some kind, but it's like I just feel, especially in New England, where we have so much bad weather, there's only so much you can do. And then the summer, you're like trying to cram all this stuff and meet a girl and do all this stuff, and you're working or whatever. And like I started recently, I just started my own business, and that's been an entire learning curve, entire process. But now my work schedule is completely different than everybody else's. Because now, in theory, I make my own schedule, but it's like you kind of go where the work is when it's there. And it's like, oh, I hope this summer I'm going to be around when, hey,
Well,
buddy.
that's my problem too. And this, I mean, yeah, we're not necessarily off topic, but like it relates to dating as well. Is that
Right?
I make my most of my money in the summertime because I'm shoot. That's when I'm shooting weddings and whatnot. And I have my link job, and I also do the social media work, whatever, and that's just steady in the background. But
And now we're going to be famous.
and now we're gonna be podcast famous.
Right.
So or vlogcast. I tried looking up. Sorry, side note. What this is? This is the YouTube.
This is the truth.
This this is the truth. Um, is what is it? This is a vlogcast? No,
This is a bromance.
it's a it's,
No, this would be considered a vlog.
a vlog.
Yeah, a vlog. It can't be a podcast.
A podcast is just is which I think at some point we can take the audio probably from this somehow. I don't know how you rip it from a.
Well, like Joe Rogan's a podcast, but they have videos. They video all their
I think because
sessions.
they
They're all on
record,
YouTube.
they're recording with a camera and they're recording it. So like when I was doing the research,
They
like
also are like $1 million business,
yeah,
multi-million-dollar
but
business.
they got the camera, and then when they shoot the audio, like we have the soundboard, they're capturing the audio and they're
Correct.
merging the videos.
Yeah.
This is iPhone. I don't know if we can do that later, but maybe we end up just doing another podcast. I don't know.
Maybe even
That
at
was
some
just
point we'll have 2 cameras with 1 audio, so then we
we could do that.
could shuffle.
Yeah.
But this is nice because we don't have to edit anything. We can
Yeah.
just put it
I'm
up.
just trying to make I'm just trying to get content up now
Yeah.
and get something going.
Yeah.
And then we'll start working on it. But back to the topic that we're talking about, dating in the summertime is so hard because it's like I'm shooting weddings on weekends, and people are like, "Oh, well, why don't you meet someone at weddings?" And I'm like, huh, first off, my boss would
They don't like
absolutely
that very much.
that. Well, every girl show
Where's Stacy? Oh, she's banging the help. You know?
yeah, the is I'm busy shooting videos, and yeah, I might meet some bridesmaids or whatever guests at the wedding, but
It's complicated.
it's
It's like a
complicated,
taboo thing
and my
in
boss
the
would
industry.
murder me.
Yes.
And I there was at a wedding where there was a girl that I did date previously. I was like, oh, I know that girl, and it was like end all be all. I also had a situation where I worked with another videographer. I hope she doesn't see this. Maybe she will. And I reached out to her to go on a date, and she friend zoned me, but she was super cool. She's older than me by like 8 years, and but same, we vibed very well. We went on. It wasn't a date. We went out, grabbed drinks, and we hit it off, chatting and whatnot. And I was like, oh, we should do this again. And it got weird or something, and then she didn't want to talk to me again after that. But we still worked together. But my boss basically came at me and was just like, "No, dude," and I'm like,
That wasn't the move, bro.
"Yeah." I mean, at the same time, it's like,
It was though.
yeah, how where else am I supposed to meet? How am I supposed to meet people? It's like
Well, it's
I'm
like
not. He's married. I'm not married. So it's like, and I can't go out platonically with someone and just to get to know them or something. And
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say platonic, but like whatever.
And that's the other thing is there's so much on both sides. There's so much pressure that you can't just go, "Hey, Watson,
Yeah.
trying to drink your drink," but
Hold
you
on.
can't just go out as like a platonic, like, "Hey, we're just gonna grab drinks as human beings and see what shakes out." Like, doesn't have to have romantic interest. You can find someone attractive. Like, I actually took this note from women because I learned this from my women friends. But they're like, "Oh yeah, we can think someone's super hot, but like we'll never say a word to them. Like we'll never even talk to them or like whatever." And it's like I just never understood that. And I'd be like, "Oh, like if you are single and you found that person attractive, like one of my friends was like, 'Oh, there's this hot guy that goes to my gym,' and I'm like, 'Oh, did you like ever make an attempt to talk to him?' She's like, 'Oh God, no.' I'm like, 'Why?' I feel like if I was a man, besides being caught off guard, which I have been caught off guard, and you just like, what? Like, you look like an asshole, or like you're rejecting them, but they're so afraid of being rejected or like shooting their shot that they don't ever take the chance. And like that's actually what got me thinking about this podcast in general. Is it's like, oh, I don't ever want to regret not taking a shot.
Well, I think also too that this podcast too is to help,
Come here, come here.
connect. Well, obviously share our viewpoints, and that other we're going through the same stuff you're going through as dudes. But the also is like to the challenge part is to start pushing, like where I used to be way more outgoing in my late 20s, given the line of work I'm in now, more recluse. It's why I went to Vietnam on a solo trip, was because I wanted to push myself out there, and as painful it was, it turned into a great trip. Um, but like it's once you start locking yourself up and stop doing stuff, because as you get older, people get married, your friends are all
And you also fall into like
relation.
these weird like little routines that you have.
Yeah,
Like there was like a, geez, I don't know, 6 month period into now where it would just be like I go to work, and it was also getting dark because it's the winter, so I'm an outdoorsy kind of guy, and it's like go to work, come home, work out,
and
play
he's got a
Xbox.
gym in his right behind us.
I do.
There's a gym, so he doesn't have to go to the gym.
I'm very proud of that. Well, that's the problem is that I have a full gym that I spent like 6 years curating, like all my equipment. And so like if I don't want to, there will be times like except for going out to see clients and they're treating you so nice because you're like in a professional setting.
Yeah,
And that would be like my only interaction for the day. And I'm like, they were so wonderful. People are so pleasant and all this stuff. And then I get home and it's no, like not hitting up my friends. I'm not. And it's like, oh, I go work out. It's by myself, listening to a podcast back there. And then it's like everything is alone and you just get so comfortable. And you got to break out of that comfort zone. Like I didn't, even my friend, when he was like, let's go do something, like let's go to Vance and Leathers. And I'm like, well, fuck, I'm not going to do that. But then I did it. And I'm like, this is great. Like, I'm so
yeah,
thankful you brought me out here. Like I'm having fun. We're laughing. We're having a good time. We got food. And I think when you're younger, in your 20s and stuff, a lot of people are still going out drinking. That's the premise, is to go out drinking and meet people. And as you get older, people start to like settle down. And then the weird catch 22 is even as you get older and there's people who have always been single through that and you get in your 40s and stuff, it's like, are all these people damaged? Because I feel like a hypocrite because I'll be on the web like Hinge and I'm like, what's up with this girl? Why is she on here? There's got to be a reason. And then I'm like, oh, I'm on here too. So like you just flip that script so easily. But
yeah.
it's
I just have the worst luck. I think I don't know if I'm necessarily damaged. I do have. We all have baggage if you're single in your mid 30s that may like go into, like, I don't know. I want to say like my thing. I think is that I over text. Like I text like I talk. So like if I'm out
I
on a
used to do
date,
that. I'm working on that. It's
I
because
get.
we have ADD, so it's just like
Yeah. Well,
you,
I
because your
send
brain is
paragraph. I
just
don't do
like,
multiple texts. I'm the guy
oh,
that
I do.
sends
You know that.
paragraphs. So it's like, and like, but like I'll send a long paragraph, but like in person, that would be like literally me talking for a minute,
Yeah,
60 seconds,
yeah.
and now it looks like a novel, and now I just scared the crap out of that girl, and it's like that's the world that we're in. It's
It's like
like,
that meme when you see it. It's like the girl texts the guy, and it's like this, and it's like, I ain't reading that essay.
yeah, yeah, and like, oh, this guy goes way too deep or whatever, and it's like, well, yeah, I'm a deep person. Like I don't like being around surface level people.
I don't either.
I don't find it
It's not titillating.
titillating. I don't find the growth there. Like, like I have guy friends that are surface level, but that's different. I'm
It
not
is
trying to
different.
date them, and
Yeah,
I see them once in a while. So but like I like getting into the deep conversations of life,
yeah,
and whether it's they call over analyzing. I'm ADD, so like I do over analyze, but I think there's a strength and weakness to, it's a double sided
yeah. I
coin
think
topic,
I
but
think it's appropriate to want to break down life and try to
yeah,
like figure things out because like I get jealous sometimes of some of my friends who are blissfully unaware, or maybe they're not unaware, but they just choose not to care. It's like they're just happy as a clam to do their thing every day, and it's probably very freeing. Versus me, where I like have to break everything down analytically, and that's been a big hurdle for me to overcome. Is just
But then
being
I don't
like,
know if that's like a weakness because I feel like in the dating world, the way that women portray that what they want a guy that can open up and talk about their feelings.
so
But
they
then
can use it against you later. Yeah,
yes, use
for
it
sure.
against you later. If you're in a healthy relationship, that's probably not the case. But I feel like if you're dating someone that's not healthy, then yeah, they'll definitely use it against you later. Um, but I also feel like though because of the dating apps and the social media in the world that we live in today, we've created such a surface level society,
That's what it is. It really
and
is.
that's all you know. And the second you get I literally had a girl the other day, a week ago. I wasn't even pursuing her. I literally put her in my friend zone. I was like, yeah, we can be friends. And yeah, she's pretty. She's 10 years younger than me. And we were chatting. We met through work, and I was like, I think 4 days straight we chatted. She was like FaceTiming me every day. I was like, all right, sure. I was like planning my plants for I'm gonna try planting season this year, whether that works or not. But and I was planting plants, and she just sat there on a FaceTime, and she just for 5 hours watched me plant plants. I don't even know if she
Was
really
that
talked.
horticulture, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then she ghosts me for a week. Whatever, we're just friends, But I like reach out or something, and she doesn't text back, or she's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see my phone." It's like, okay, sure.
I only have my phone on me 24/7, like every human on the planet, and it's always got to be fully charged, and I'm always on it looking at notifications. But sorry, I must have missed your texts.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm not upset, because
I'm a little upset for you.
she's just a friend, right? But then she hits me up out of the blue, and she's like, "I'm going to Providence, the capital of the state I live in, Rhode Island," and she's like, I'm gonna go there, and I'm going to go to a party. Can you give me a ride home? Because she knows I live there, and she lives 40 minutes away. And I'm like, maybe my 25-year-old self would simply be like, sure, I'll do it, thinking that something's going to come out of it.
My
I know
25-year-old
exactly what her
self
game is.
would have said, "Sure,"
Yeah,
and then I would not have showed up.
yeah.
Turned my phone off.
Well, I was just like,
Oh, sorry, I didn't have my phone on me.
I was just like, no.
The craziest thing happened. Just coincidentally, I didn't have it on me.
I was like, no. But then I proceeded it because I feel like I have to get my point through, and maybe that's where women hate me. But is
It's because they a lot of the times
they want to have the last word.
correct. Yep.
But I mean, in this situation, I feel like I was 100% justified. And I said no. I was like, you can go find some other 25-year-old dude to do that for you. And then she's like, why do you have to be so rude? And then she went off on. I was like, look, you hit me up every day for a week, and then you don't message me at all, and then you say you're busy, and then out of the blue, you ask me to give you a ride home after a party, but you don't even start the conversation like, hey, how are you? You just literally dump that
Yeah.
two text thing on me. So I'm like, I find that to be rude. And I'm 35 years old. I'm not going to sit
I
around
don't have
and,
time for this. Yeah.
yeah, it's like I got other stuff that I can do. I'd rather play Xbox than text you.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Xbox, a little Call of Duty with the homies.
Yeah.
Um, but
It's like getting our nails did. It's the
I
same thing.
honestly, yeah, I'm starting to be like, I'd rather play Xbox than go on dates because I'm just not finding substance to anything that I'm going out towards.
Yeah.
So I'm not even nervous anymore. I'm just like, this is just another shitty experience,
Yeah. It's disheartening. Like even, and I think what it comes down to though, a lot of the times is that everyone has like this trauma because we're like all the same for the most part, the same generation. And I think as humans, we just have like all this uncured form of some kind of trauma or issue or a bad relationship or something or insecurities or something. Like I told Pat, I had some girl we both know like hit me up out of the blue. Actually, it wasn't out of the blue. It was when I posted a very thirst trappy photo. It wasn't like a shirt off photo or anything. It was like a model esque photo, which
were you doing push-ups in it?
no, I was literally just sitting there. It was
Oh,
like with a
it's the
jacket
Tom
on, but
Cruise
with
looking one.
yeah, that one. And she's like,
I've seen it. It's a thirst
"Hey,"
trap.
it is
Yeah.
a thirst trap. Uh, and like, oh my god, here's my number. Text me all this stuff, and I was like, I know this person before. I'm not going to give them the time of day, whatever. And then they just kept doing it. So eventually, you're like, all right, maybe haven't seen this person in a long time. Maybe they've changed because you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And the moment I showed interest, complete pullback, ghost for 3 months, only to hit me up later. Hey, where'd you go? What happened? I was helping my friend move. Like, damn, for 3 months, huh? Where'd he move to? Alaska? Did you do it? Did you take a boat there? It's like It's just, you get these people that they just want this attention because maybe they don't have it in their own life and they're just like seeking validation. It just makes the whole dating process so much more complicated, and it's like, and I'm guilty of it too. I've talked to girls on Hinge and I can tell they're really vibing with it. And then they post very dishonest photos. So in my brain, I expect them to look as their photos do, which is probably the best they've ever looked or something. I try not to do that. I try to post honest pictures because I'd rather have people who like me the way I look now. And then when they show up, they're not like, who are you? Well, I literally showed up to that date.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, oh, it's Casey. I'm like, nah. I was like, where is she? Is she in the car? Like, is she over there? Am I being punked? But I don't know. It's a very, very strange. And again, if I had known she looked like that, it still would have been okay because she was cute. But I just didn't. Her photos made her look like, a 9 when she was probably a 6.5. And I'm cool with a 6.5 with a great personality. Even numbering people feels very phony and like very our generation. Like, oh, they're a 7. Or like those things you see on Instagram, like, what would you rate me? What would you rate my friend? I was like, I give him an 8. And like, what are you? A 6. Like, fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, yeah, I feel like, yeah, I think
we're literally part of a generation where a hawk to a girl is like worth millions and millions of dollars. And then we're all working, trying to make a living. We're like, or like the government will be like, hey, we don't know what happened to $50 trillion, but if you mess up your taxes, we're going to come after you and put you in jail.
yeah,
It's just a very strange world we're in right now. So
there's
we're all navigating this
no,
together.
no doubt about any
And
of
you
that
can't seek advice from older people.
because they're not living through
They're
it.
like, oh, well, back when you just work, my dad. You just work hard, Jake. You work hard, and you get a house. You be successful. You build a name for yourself. I'm like, that is not how it works anymore. I've had 15 jobs.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
I work 3 jobs. I have a lot of free time, but I work 3 jobs. Yeah, they're some of them seasonal and whatnot. But like, and I'm trying to add now podcasting and maybe more video work.
yeah.
And photography and whatnot. But like, I could be like, that's the future. We're not in like this society anymore where you work the same job for like 40
Or like
years.
the 9 to 5 is dying, and you used to be able to go start as a janitor and make it to a CEO. Like there was always those success stories, and now that's like a dead media. They'll keep you for 30 years and 3 days before you retire. Can you? I just saw that.
They'll take away your pension.
I just saw that because I work in auto body, and I went for an interview, and I didn't like the guy. Right, I've just learned to trust my gut. Like I did not like the guy the moment I sat down. He was just like that big corporate fake suit, greasy face, drove a Hummer EV, like $130,000 electric thing, and piece of shit. And then
If you're driving a Hummer EV, I do not want to be
wild
in your atmosphere.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I'm looking to replace Leo," and I'm like, "Oh, I know Leo. I know him from a different body shop." He's like, "Yeah, he's been with me 6 years. He's 64 and a half. He knew exactly. He's like, he's gonna retire in 4 months, and I want to can him before that." And I'm like, "You want me to replace Leo for half the money?" Because I know what Leo makes. I'm like, "For half the money, so you don't have to give him a severance or anything. You just can him." He's like, "Correct." I was like, "Okay." Just making sure we understand each other. It's like,
Yeah.
it just gets complicated too, especially when you're trying to do the right thing in society and you're ostracized from having a conscience. Like a lot of my bosses in auto body, you think of auto body, you think of like the grimy dude taking advantage of the customer. And a lot of people, that is what they are. And I would always fight against that and be like, no, this is morally wrong. I'm legally obligated with my license to do this the Massachusetts CMR way. And they'd be like, no, we're going to cut corners. And I'd literally be like, okay, we can find yourself a new appraiser. I quit. It's like, and my parents used to be like, why? Somebody's going to do it. Just do it. And it's like, no, I can't. I can't do it. I would rather be it sounds so awful, the lone wolf, out there than join a team of people who are dishonest and disloyal. And I think
I've
in
gone
dating,
through
I think that
a
is
fair
big
share of
thing.
that. Yeah, no, I can completely. Yeah,
Like even when women say they're like, I want a man who's smart and educated and sensitive and la la la, and then they go you look at their past history, dating history, it's like all dudes, full tattooed bodysuits, been in jail, all this stuff, an asshole, makes them cry, and they're like addicted to the
they
what's it?
want to fix that person. They
They
want
want
a
the
project.
emotional
They want to be able to
influx
fix.
though, because it's boring to
Yeah,
be with a steady guy.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
then they think that they can fix that person, and
correct.
it's a project for them, which they know ultimately deep down that they're never going to be fixed. But it's that, I want to keep trying to, that, overachieve to fix this broken person. It never works out. I feel like that's literally it's like, I think it's movies that kind of created that whole thing, and then the movies.
Every I'm not going to name any names because I know so many of them, but every girl I know as a friend or in passing, that like friend of a friend who says they would like the put together guy, the safe choice, whatever, always goes for the jack dude with tattoos who rides a motorcycle. And it's like they like
Yeah, but
they'll go for the
I
safe
feel like that's
choice
that's a thing that has happened over the. I'd say that's where we've evolved to into society. I feel like 2015 and earlier, they were going for the settled down guys, and then maybe they ended up cheating on the settled down guy with the tattooed,
with the Chad Chattington. Yeah,
the Chad chatting. So you're saying I just need to get a six pack and I
you need to
can,
get a Harley Davidson.
and a Harley
I'm
Davidson.
actually I can't see it, but I'm wearing one. I'm wearing this shirt right now. But
So that's all it takes. I got the tattoos and long
you'll
hair.
get dudes being like, "Yo, bro, sick Harley," I don't know. But that's about it. But no, they I think they don't want to like that guy. I just think there's more excitement there. And it's so easy when
Yeah,
we're
but
in
you
like,
could be that guy though and be excitement, but you don't have to be an asshole.
all right,
You
I
could be
have
a,
an
you
example.
know,
I didn't want to say this, but I have an example. You know what? I'm just going to say it. Actually, I recant that. I'm not going to name any names.
no names.
One of them is me. But
Unless it's yourself.
no, but uh was in a relationship, and I haven't always been the most, well, this is back in my 20s, but and people who are watching this, like people that we know, and I was a partier, and back then would like get into fights. I'd never like back down from anything. It was more of like to prove I don't know, I can't even say it was part to prove myself. It's just hot-headed young blood, just like to party, like to go out, whatever. Women liked that, like, oh, he doesn't give an F mentality. But I think a lot of that is with, as they mature and age, they go for the more. Like at our age now, I don't get as much attention for, like, back then, having a motorcycle was like the edgy cool thing. Like I used to be like, just casually someone would mention, "Oh, Jake's got a bike." And they'd be like, "Oh my god, you have a bike? You can take me on it? You gonna take me on it? We could go on right now." I'm like, no, we're inebriated and we're like in an hour away. No, we can just go. Let's be edgy. Let's live. Yeah. But now it's like everybody, I think, like in their 30s is like either having kids, has kids, or if they're single, wants kids. There's very few that I see on, even on Hinge, who are like, don't have kids, don't want kids. That's a very, I think, rare thing.
Yeah, for a girl to say that.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. I mean, I'd say I don't know where I'm at for. I'm open to whatever. I
Has to
still
be a good fit.
has to be. I'd rather live the adventuresome lifestyle than, but
I'm
I still
biased
want to
because
find someone.
I have my 3-year old daughter who like changed my
Yeah, I mean, if you
entire
have a
life.
kid already, then you're
She like
obviously,
changed my whole perspective on existing.
yeah,
But even then, I'm almost like, she's enough.
yeah,
It would have to be an exemplary fit, like to have another child.
yeah,
And especially there's factors that go into this, is that our money doesn't go as far. We're all struggling. I mean, comparatively to the last generation, like where the influx of things going up, things are so much more expensive, but nobody's pay has gone up that much to keep up with it. So we all, that takes a huge mental toll on society, and that could be another big reason. And that's a big reason why you see on social media, like when women are like, "Oh, I want a guy who's a provider to take care of me, whatever, whatever." Granted, they're picking these people on purpose because it's clickbaity, but there is that, we see it on dating apps. Like, I want a guy who's a man who can provide and all this stuff. It's like people want to be taken care of. They want that sense of we're okay. It just comes off wrong. And it's like, moral
so
of the
yeah.
story is that dating apps, I don't think, are the end all be all solution. But that being said, I know quite a few people who have been in long term relationships from dating apps. I have also dated and been in relationships since being married.
So I mean, I guess what it comes
So
down to is like, how do you find? Maybe it's your profile photos. Maybe it's
They
it's
want you to pay for the app too.
they want
I
you to
really
pay
do think
for
they
it.
withhold algorithm matches from you. That being said, if they weren't getting matches, they would go out of business because they are a business.
Yeah.
So
So
I
there is work. People are working at it. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way the guy builds their profile.
yeah,
I think it's helpful to have another. I've had other girls set up my profile for me.
I've also seen, and I'll be brief with it, but I watched a podcast a couple weeks ago, and it was some guy who's supposedly the most sought after man on Hinge. He's self-acclaimed. He's basically saying his own self-worth, but he was saying he gets like 1,000 likes a week or something. But all he
No,
does
you
like,
sent me that.
yeah,
Yeah,
he does like the mysterious approach where he has like nothing in his profile,
yeah.
just like thirst trap photos, and they're all professionally done. And it's like, so really,
He's a good-looking dude, trendy dude.
yeah,
You know.
I wouldn't say anything exceptional, but it's just because he goes out of his way to play his strong points, but it's thirst trappy, and it's
Yeah, but he
like,
also he also complained about how he's not getting any valued matches from
I
people.
wonder why.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So
I'm a shell of a man, but look at my abs.
yeah, it's like there's more to me than my six pack. It's
Let me
like
only show you my six pack.
I got my trendy. I don't even have a glasses prescription, but I wear my clear glasses.
That's
Warby
coming
Parker.
back.
The funny thing is, I have a pair of those. I just hate wearing them, and they're so trendy now. It's like I'm just like, why? I feel like I try not to be trendy, and yet all of a sudden I'm in a new trend. Like I do this thing where it's not even like intentional. It's because I lose shit, and I have never have this. Right now, I'm wearing flip flops, and it's freezing out, and because I'm still in
It
like
was a
that
poor choice.
the Bangkok mentality where it was 100 degrees, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna wear my boots anymore. I'm gonna wear
Flip
flip flops
flopping in
everywhere. I'm getting ready
Bangkok.
for summer, baby. But no, is shit. Where was it? Oh,
I got distracted by that. You have flip flop calluses.
yeah, I got yeah.
Since that's some serious
That's that's
dedication.
that's some serious
That's
dedication
some
for
serious flip
walking.
flopping.
Um, but no, I wear socks that are not the same. I don't
With
match my
flip flops?
socks. What?
With flip
No, no,
flops?
I don't do
It's
that.
like, you
No,
scoundrel.
that's no. I with thong flip flops, you can't do that. But no, I never have a matching pair. So like I always wear two up. They could be a green sock. It could be like a black sock with purple dots on it, and then I'm wearing a striped sock, and like and then people always make a comment to like point it out too. Like, oh, that you're like my kids in high school. I'm like, what?
One of my oldest friends,
Wait.
Natalie, when we were kids, used to wear mismatching socks. It's like my most core memory of her.
Yeah.
And people would always be like, that's so weird. And now,
Now
30
it's
years
yeah, now
later,
it's like this thing, and it's
yeah,
like,
you're wearing long
and all of
socks
a
with
sudden I'm
short
like,
socks,
they're
and
like, wow, you're so trendy. I'm like,
be a
what?
Dr. Seuss book. Long socks with short socks and polka dot socks, and
Well,
too
my
many socks and not enough socks.
yeah,
Yeah, it's even like trendy stuff. Like, there was a time where it was like, oh, dudes don't wear jewelry, and I've always like, I like jewelry. Like, I like necklace. Even in high school, wallet chains were never really popular, but I
to
wear
the
like,
gothic kids they were.
I used to have trip pants with chains on them, and then I was like, why can't I get a girlfriend who isn't mentally deranged? But yeah, and so, but now like men wear jewelry. Like, I had like, those elastic bead bracelets. I had those. Yeah, and my wife was like, "Why are you wearing those? Those are gay." And I'm like, and now they're like so popular. And I was like, "See, I was just ahead of the curve." You
These I
know,
got these in Vietnam. They were expensive. I might have gotten hustled for them, but
probably
at the same time, I was
cheap
like,
suits. Yeah,
I did get a suit too. No, but I mean, these things they're actually pretty good quality. This is jade, so like
that's cool.
but yeah, the other ones that I buy offline, I've been wearing the beaded bracelets for a long time,
The only
but
thing about, and it's so strange, they say like everything comes back around. So like, if you save your clothes, or like even my parents' clothes, my parents are older, but
I would
all
imagine that your parents are older.
they're like older. Like, my dad just turned 80,
All right, yeah, yeah.
and all his stuff, because he can't throw anything away, it's starting to come around again, and it's just so strange.
Yeah.
Or like the pants that girls wear that are like stomach pants. They go like they go like all the way up.
High waisted.
High rise
High rise,
pants.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all coming back, and like,
I don't
all the
even know. How are
vintage
we on this subject right now?
Levi's come back. I was just gonna say that, like, hopefully traditional dating will come back around,
Oh, there we
and
go.
that, just like hopefully we'll transition from these shitty apps to people wanting more genuine connection and being like, oh, like it's not so bad to go out.
Well,
But what
that's
happened is a lot of people don't have friends anymore, so
yeah, yeah.
they're stuck inside. They're like, well, I'm not gonna go by myself.
Well, yeah, and
And you just have to. I've literally been to concerts by myself. And it's
I
like
find
people be
it
like,
like
"What?" And people like Evan, sorry, Evan, be like, "What are you, a loser?" Like, but like, no, it's like I want to go. I want to go.
thing is yeah, I feel like when I was out in Asia, I was every day out by myself, literally.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't want to be in the hotel room doing nothing. There's so much going on in Asia that like you could just walk through a night market for hours, and it's awesome, you know.
until it turns daytime.
It's a third take time,
Then it's a day market.
and then and then well, they do. They're open on like 24/7. So like
The night market is now closed, and then the
the
lights
day
turn
market,
on.
yeah.
The lights are now on. It's a day
So
market.
but like there's always something to be doing. Here it's way different. Like I come back, I'm like, all right, Patrick, take this mentality and you're just gonna do stuff. You get back, it's like 40 degrees out, and you're like, oh shit.
Or
All
today,
right.
33 degrees out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's cold, it's like sunny, and it's like, it's like even just going for walks and stuff, it's like, oh gosh, I don't want to go outside. It's so cold. And it's like I think this podcast though, I want like to do challenges where I'm now being held accountable by Jake here or whoever's watching, and being like, I think the accountability thing is huge, because if there's no accountability, then like you're just gonna be like, whatever, I don't want to do it. I'm not gonna do it. But if I'm like, all right, this week we're gonna like, our challenge is to, I'm gonna go on a 3 mile walk every day, somewhere different, something different, and that's my challenge for the week, and I got to do that every day. Well, it's gonna be hard because I do 24-hour shifts, but
yeah.
on the days I'm not doing 24-hour shifts,
Mine is a different. Where I'm coming from is completely different because like I do three
you
to
already
five
yeah you
miles
already
every
walk.
day.
Yeah, but you
Plus,
walk secludedly.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying you got to walk through, I don't know, towns or something.
Maybe. I used to walk through the village where my parents lived, the uppity area, paid near 'em, but I would wear my weighted vest, and people would literally be like, "Who is this absolute psychopath
Yeah, I got one
wearing a
too.
bulletproof vest through town?" Because it's a plate carrier, like a military plate carrier, and I had like a patch on the front, and it's literally this patch on the front. And they're like, "Who is this awful human being who
I got one
appears to
that's
be poor?"
army colors, so it
Yeah.
looks like I'm getting ready to train for
Mine's
the
tan. It looks
military.
like I just got off the
Yeah.
the plane, It's like, but yeah, it's like for me, it's just gonna be to get out of my comfort zone, because it's like if having a house and having a gym and having a motorcycle and my dogs and like it's
They're-
all contained
it's
in
all
my
like one
house.
person activity places.
That's my problem, is that all my stuff, shooting for the
One
most
person.
part, can be by yourself. Riding, I love riding motorcycles by myself. It's very therapeutic. I journal by yourself.
but
Xbox, you can play. Like I play with my friend over a headset, and we have laughs, and it's fun as hell.
you're by yourself.
But I'm here by myself. Well, I'm not. You're here too,
You got a
buddy.
dog, so
But yeah, it's just, oh, I'll walk you in the woods, and then if I see someone, I grumble and I roll my eyes, and I'm like, oh fuck, a person, like. But yeah, that's gonna be my thing. It's just
yeah.
because if I go out, I find that I
I think that
meet people. I do. Like I like had like a midlife crisis and went out and bought a skateboard because I used to skateboard. Great decision, by the way. It's a lot of fun. But even just going there, I got a girl's number just from going out. It was like, oh hey, and it was kind of weird. Like again, I'm 35. She was probably 20, so I was like, oh, it's a little too young. But it's like you just go out and put yourself out there, and it's like it sounds so nonsensical to someone who goes out a lot or has no problem doing that. But for me, especially when you get comfortable, especially after like when I got divorced and I had a house with her, we sold it, split it, and just went our separate ways. She's already remarried, has another house. But you know, I have a house, but I just never really dated again. It was more like this as a man, it was like this failed. Let me deconstruct this for the next 3 years and figure out where I was at fault, because you can only control what you do. So it was like I'm still on that journey. I'm getting towards the end of it, and now I'm starting to like get over that hump and be like, okay, I've healed. Now I can bring my best self to a relationship. But unfortunately, my best self is stuck on
I'm
Hinge.
I'm being alone
On Hinge.
and being unhinged. I
Or on
think,
Bumble where the girls
yeah,
say, "I will never make the first move," and I'm like, literally, that is the whole premise of this dating app.
I'd say want to and then I'm matching with girls that are like 360 miles away, and I'm like,
Or 360 pounds.
yeah, I'd
I'll
say
love you like
miles,
I love cake.
miles
It's
away, and I'm like, wow,
impossible.
you're awesome. You live in like northern Maine. I'm probably never gonna see you. But it's like I just want to get off the dating apps, period. And yeah, like start doing more things outside, more things out, and it'll be easier as summer rolls around and whatnot, but pushing myself to do like cool things. I used to like to thrift. I used to go antiquing,
That's fun.
doing stuff like New Bedford has a great scene for that.
It does.
And just being out and doing it, whether I'm not buying stuff, but I'm just exploring and doing stuff like that on a weekly
Or
basis,
like bringing a camera.
bringing your camera and capturing stuff like that could be eye opening. Yeah, I do want to develop my skills more in photography, and having this podcast, I can now like chat about it and whatnot, and maybe connect with other people that are watching it that do it, you know. But podcast, using podcast, vlogcast, and but yeah, I think ultimately, like we want to get off the dating apps. We want to change society. I know that this we want to create a revolution with this cast, but like obviously we don't want to like have big heads and it's explode, and all of a sudden we're not going to be like Joe Rogan or anything, but
Yeah.
like but
Well, the
but you got to
premise,
start somewhere, right? So we're starting somewhere, and this is it.
yeah,
So
and the premise too is that it's very important is that we're in a very interesting position that few vloggers are coming from. They all start where they're presenting to you, whether you even know if it's true or not, like they've made it. And they have the big fancy backgrounds in the studio and they're selling one on one help and all this stuff. And they have like a Patreon and all this stuff. And it's like, I
Discord,
care, but I
yeah,
care more about how did you get there? How did you
yeah,
get to the peace of mind to get here? How did you discover yourself? Because we all go through stuff. And we're in that place where we're not in a bad way, because there are a lot of channels that show you like, oh, I'm so depressed and all that stuff. Like, no, we're in a good place. It just, we're ready to make that transitional step. And this is a very good outlet where people can kind of pay attention and if they have issues to work out, kind of hold themselves accountable through us. And I think that's very important.
yeah. Like basically, we chose the name Odyssey of Man because I mean, it's a dope name. Let's be
It's
honest.
very
It's
good.
a dope name. Um, there was hundreds of other options. I have such a hard time of picking. Um,
Yeah,
but
the Odyssey of Man stuck out though. It was,
then I was doing research on like Odyssey and whatnot, and the Odyssey was written by Homer, and it's an epic tale.
I have it upstairs.
It's an epic poem. I wrote this down. It's an epic poem about Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, as he embarks on a 10-year journey coming back from the Trojan War. Along the way, he faces many trials and tests from gods or like mythical creatures and whatnot. So yeah, obviously not we're not facing mythical creatures, but in a
We are
sense,
on Hinge.
yeah. In a metaphorical kind of way, we kind of are. So that's kind of like the segue point to like what this is all about. It's our own odyssey, an odyssey of other men out there doing the same, and being able to create a community where we can all just literally discuss and chat about this, or people could like, I don't know how at some point maybe we can have someone jump on video cast wise
Yeah.
and
Our
chat.
casting couch.
I can't. We'll set up we'll set up like a computer over there,
Yeah.
another set of the couch. But like, yeah, so like, um, another thing is like this quote that was from the home from the thing. It's basically he says, "Few sons are like their fathers; most are worse; few are better." And I think that's something that's huge throughout history is that you see a great man develop, but their offspring is grown up in a very like whether that guy's working all the time or they're just not there for their kids and like and the kids grow up to be like terrible human beings. You see a lot of that with like emperors or
Celebrities.
kings,
Celebrities.
celebrities, like or it's
50
like
Cent.
and and he and I don't think it's necessarily bad parenting. I think maybe kids don't want to live in their shadow. I think there's a lot of other stuff that could a whole nother podcast worthy of information there. But I think it's important to work on yourself as a dude and rediscover yourself and your masculine self. And we live in a world where that is being frowned upon. So yeah, we're two white dudes chatting about masculinity. We're not talking about toxic masculinity. We're not talking about necessarily alpha cards, which whether you think that's bullshit or truth, that can be a
Alpha or beta or
alpha,
sigma or
you
whatever
know,
all that
like,
stuff is.
but like you can be your own best self version of yourself, and that's what we're hoping to do.
Yeah.
But with that
I
being
think that's a
said,
good way to end it.
yeah,
That's very good.
cheers.
Yeah.
Love our pirate thing. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen Black Sails, you should watch it. It's a great show.
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't seen it, but I probably will.